Yo, what's up? It's your man's Joaquin. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe to the podcast because we got some dope interviews. So now let's get into the podcast. They listening, they listening, they listening to me. They listening, they listening, they listening to me. Yo, what's up? It's your man's Joaquin, and you're tuned in to another episode of Heat Level Podcast. What's up, world? Well, today I got a teacher, a children's author who hails from Southern California. She go by the name of Dawn Menge. So I hope y'all listen and understand where she's coming from in her life. And I would like for her to introduce herself. So Ms. Dawn Menge, how you doing? Say what's up to the world.
I'm doing really well, and hello, world. My name is actually Dr. Dawn Menge. I have a PhD in curriculum instruction.
Oh, Dr. C, you should have told me that. Dr. Dawn Menge. I'm going to always give you your credit. You got your PhD. You're a Dr. Dawn Menge when it comes to me now. So let's do it.
Okay. Doctor. I teach students with severe cognitive delays during the day, and I write a children's series based on my real life adventures and family and students. And I just got back from a film festival in Las Vegas.
Oh, cool. So let me ask you, so the film festival that you went to, was it like a regular film festival or just
it was my first one, so
okay.
I don't know, like in comparison to anything else, but it was called the Action on Film Festival.
Okay.
And it was actually a mega fest. It had, I believe, 15 other festivals there. And I had entered the Conquering Disabilities with Film because I have disabilities in my books. And
okay.
From that, I went and started entering some other ones, and I won in the Miracle Makers, and I won a special recognition award in the Conquering Disabilities. And they played my book trailers on the big screen, which is really exciting.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, so it was my first film festival, and that I actually attended. I started entering a whole bunch of them, and a few months ago, I actually won from a film festival in Italy, and I got
that's
award
cool.
My award was a volcano that they mailed to me from Italy, and it was handmade, and it was really pretty. But before that, I had won 41 awards in my series, various different awards, and so I wanted to try something different. So I tried at the film festival, and it was really interesting.
Oh yeah, well maybe I submit that. So let me ask you a question. What got you, first and foremost, what made you want to be a teacher? Because me, I gave my teachers hell. I went to alternative school. So, I was a little different when it came to that. But what I do like to say is teachers are very underpaid, and I don't understand why the government is not doing something about that, because the teachers take a whole lot. But with that being said, what made you want to be a teacher? And then we'll get into why you became an author also. So, what made you want to, teach the kids that don't know nothing when they come to school?
Well, I got my degrees as a preschool teacher, and okay. I got a job in a Head Start, and then I got really sick. And then I went back to school, to junior college, and my mom was actually a kindergarten teacher. So cool. I had little girls, and I took them in there with me, and she taught me how, and I got credit for going to college. So that's how I got into teaching, is from my mom.
Oh, cool. So basically it was one of them things like, my mom's a teacher. She's teaching these kids. So yeah. I'm going to be one of them people that can be in these kids' life and teach them all the type of subjects and stuff like that. But I want to ask you a question, though, since we're into teaching. Now, me being a Black man, right, and what I feel that school has let down is a lot of Black people in America when it comes to our history. Now, when I used to go to school, we wasn't taught, and I always tell people this. Everybody say, "Oh, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks." Okay, that is so common. But the stuff that I know now about my history that they don't teach us in school growing up, and the stuff that they don't teach in school that I think they should teach in school, because the curriculum of the school curriculums are just, I just don't understand. Like, you know, I have kids and, you know, they come and say, I'm like, you didn't learn that in school? No, what? And you like in the 7th, 8th,
Yeah.
you know, I got kids that's in high school too. So, I mean, it's like, really? Like, you didn't learn that? And then, and it's kind of like saying Christopher Columbus discovered America. Like, I don't understand why that is still in the school curriculum. Like, we know that's not true, right? But I'm saying it's still in the curriculum. Like, it's still a Columbus Day. It's still there, even though we know that is not true. And there's a lot of stuff in the history that was basically rewrote or was left out, or they didn't want, you know, from this country, as we know, you know, come from, you know, especially Black people that was enslaved in this country, and natives that actually their country was taken from them. But when we go to that, it's like they don't want to tell a lot of that history. So they say, okay, well, we got American history and social studies, and they only tell you what they want you to know. And when I say they, is like the government's like, they don't want to put everything or a lot of important parts of history. So what do you think about the school curriculum and the way that it is, since you are a teacher, and how you feel about that?
Well, this is something that I learned because I started working in Sacramento with the other teachers, and I worked with the testing service, and they work in all of the states. They create the standardized testing for all of the states. And so that actually was kind of a conversation. And different states teach different information. And
how?
Yeah, and that's hard to actually comprehend, because there should be like a set of information, you know, but different areas of the countries teach different things. And I grew up, okay, I graduated in a long time ago. We'll just say a long time ago.
Oh, that's cool,
in a small town. And so those were not things that we learned at that time. And I teach students with severe cognitive delays. So, you know, we're not teaching the history and the science and things like that, but it's starting to become part of the curriculum. I actually had a discussion with someone. I think it was California's adopting a set of curriculum which describes African-American scientists and historians, but it was the title of the curriculum that was putting people off. I can't remember exactly what the title was, but it was putting people off. So I was trying to explain that because part of what I learned working with the state is that different segments of different populations, which would be the special ed or a different group, their standardized test scores are not high, which is not how you determine a child's intelligence at all.
No,
but it's what they're learning.
Yeah.
But I was trying to explain to this person that if you live somewhere where you don't go but in your neighborhood, like you've never been anywhere, you know, I was trying to explain to them that people don't know, not everybody knows what the ocean is. They've never been there. They don't know what the snow is. They don't know. So if you don't know something, how do you know it exists? Is kind of what I was trying to explain. So creating a better curriculum that includes everyone, and the historians and the scientists, then more of the children can connect to that, and they will know that, yes, I'm there, I can be successful too. If you don't go anywhere but your neighborhood, and that's something a lot of people don't understand, that there are children, a lot of children, that don't know the big world.
Well, and I mean, I was that child, you know. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, and you know, we went certain places, but it was like I used to always look at and you got I was locked up my whole juvenile life from like 13 to 19. So, you know, being a kid that was raised by the state and stuff, you know, lost my mom a long time ago, but I'm just saying, like, I used to look at the map, right? And like, man, I want to go there. I want to go there, kind of like that movie Freedom Writers. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. Like when you in that situation and you in that poverty and all you see is this, when you go across to where I'm from, you got a place called Brentwood where all the country stars live, and Franklin and Belle Meade, and you know what I mean? Where I'm from in Nashville, that part is like where they live. And it's like when I was younger, I used to always be like, man, I wanted to go to Brentwood. I wanted to go and see these big mansions and stuff that was different from where I live, where it was never gunshots and pimps and drug dealers. And like you said, you're right. It's a lot of kids that even grow up that don't even leave their city or their side of town. I went to Miami Beach. I go to Miami Beach like once a year. We went this year in May, and we actually was staying on Miami Beach, and we ended up going into Miami, and we was going to the Walmart because I had dropped my phone off the jet ski, flipped the jet ski. I forgot what it was, but I had to go get a thing. And we was in Brownsville part of Miami, and this guy was on the bus, and I was like, is it people that never been across the bridge to Miami Beach just to go to the beach? And it was like, yeah, it's people that's been living here for 40 years, 50 years, and never went just across the bridge to go to South Beach or Miami Beach. Like they just don't do it. It's like they know they place. I was like, what? And then I started thinking, because my girl was like, that's crazy because it's beautiful over there. I said, it's no different from Nashville. People won't go 20 minutes away from their neighborhood to go to a neighborhood that don't look like theirs. I said, so really it's the same thing, And I'm like, we get conditioning to live that way, and you stay in that comfort zone and you never get out of it, And I believe, and you're a teacher, I don't know if you agree with this or you don't, but let me know your thoughts on it. I believe school starts a lot of that also. Because when you coming into school, especially me, I went to a public school, what you're seeing and what you're taught is like when I was going to school, it's kind of like they was telling me, you can be what you can be, but you really can't be that. It was like, you can be a basketball player, football player, you can be in music, you can dance, but I don't think you can be a surgeon. You know what I mean? And not just that, in the Black community growing up, that is not what we've seen. I don't know any surgeons in my family. Like I don't see any.
You didn't have a role model that was out there in front of you. And it's the same for the sciences and history and mathematics.
Yeah, I don't even know. I do history, right? I do Black history. And I know a couple of Black historians and scientists, but now, I'm digging in deeper, and it's a lot that had to do with a lot of stuff that we got now that they wasn't given the credit for because of the time it was, and it's like, it's sad, but I just think that us as Americans, and us as just people in general, should be able to tell those stories so these kids, especially kids that are living in a situation that they feel like there's no way out, that is way more to life than just being an entertainer and an athlete. Even though I am an entertainer, but still, there's more to that than just being that, And, I don't know how you really feel about that, but.
Well, as a teacher, you want everyone to excel at their best, and everybody needs role models, and they need to see that, yes, there are astronauts and scientists and astronomers, and yes, you can do that. I mean, you have to change their situation, you have to study hard and all of that, but yes, it is out there. And I think that for some people, it just feels, I'm not sure why, but it feels threatening to them. I don't know why. It doesn't hurt them any. it helps everyone. But there's also something you had mentioned a little earlier about the gunshots and things. There's also research that if you are raised under trauma, it actually changes your brain. And so then your brain reacts differently for the rest of your life. And it doesn't take information in the same way it would for a child who grew up and was just had a non-threatening life.
Yeah. Silver basically silver spoon. And let me tell you something. I grew up with trauma. But this, I have biracial kids. Like actually, all my kids biracial. But I tell you this right here. I grew up with trauma, right? I grew up not to trust the white people, right? I grew up like that. But I had teachers who were white in my alternative school that I thought they were the nicest teachers. But even though when I got in trouble, stuff happened. It is what it is. But I grew up with trauma, but this is the thing. It took me till 7 years in prison to change my thought pattern and my thought process. Ever since I was young, this is what I was. I was a very evil child, man. I was evil. My grandma would be saying, oh my God, if you just knew. I was a very evil child, and I was very evil grown up. I was very I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been in the streets, I done did things I can't talk about. I did things that, I done had a life, right? And for me to have changed it's a good thing, but I grew up that way also. And I had to change my thought process, but people had to keep on drilling it in me. It was like, boom, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson,
Because your brain and your instincts are going to go back to the survival mode.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in survival mode. And so that's why your actual brain changes. And so people don't understand that. They just think, well, you can just get out of it. Don't worry about it, but no, it actually, if you're raised that way, it changes your brain. And it also is like, if you're raised in an abusive environment or, anything like that, it changes it. So everybody has to understand that there needs to be more empathy in how we're addressing our children and what we're educating them. And that's one reason I like writing my books, is because I get to travel. I love to travel, but I write about the travels, and in the books are, my real family and my real friends. And so when a child's reading the book, or they're going on my website and they're seeing the pictures of our actual trip, some people have never seen a sea turtle. They don't know, they don't know you can go in the ocean and swim with them, or they don't know you can swim with the dolphin. They don't,
yes.
I was talking to someone who was actually making a film to save the dolphins. And he doesn't like the being in the SeaWorld and that. And I had taken my students there. And so there's a role for everything in life. And it was therapy for my children, and they were helping the dolphins, in SeaWorld. They're usually injured or something. And he did finally understand my position. But I tried to explain to him that if a child's never seen the ocean, they don't know what it is. If they've never seen a dolphin, how do they know that they need to save the dolphin? They've never seen one,
Yeah.
If you don't have the experiences or the knowledge, how do you know? And so that's what my books are for. They're to teach children who aren't near the ocean, who have never seen it, what's in the ocean, or what's in Alaska, or, what, I have one I just published, and it's on camping at the beach. And so we spend a whole year camping at the beach. And so some children have never been camping.
Oh,
They live, so
I know a lot of kids have never even been the woods behind the house, maybe, but not camping.
Right.
Maybe running from the police. That's about it. And that's the narrative that I'm trying to change myself, because a lot of stuff that I do, and people like, you from the streets, you do that, and it's like, this is what us being from the poverty areas we are, we want to do stuff like this. Like we actually want to do stuff like this, you know, and we just don't have the funds and the means to be able to do stuff like this. So, like for example, I've traveled, you know, places and did stuff, but when I went to prison, when I got out, let me tell you something. I've been to 4 different concerts. I've been to, man, what? Oh man, let me see. We go a lot of places. I got to remember we went to New York, then we went to Miami, then we went to Orlando, Busch Gardens, SeaWorld. I've never been to SeaWorld. I'm 36, never been. Went to SeaWorld, went to Busch Gardens. Never, and went to Miami, which that was not my first time in 2018 going to Miami, but my first time really being able to enjoy Miami. And then going to Charlotte. That was my first time I did a show in Charlotte. Then I did a show in Miami out actually in 2018. Never did a show in Miami. And it was a good experience. Went to New York December of last year. Never been, but I always wanted to go to New York.
It was probably really cold.
Yeah. The only thing that got me, I ended up shooting a music video up there in New York. I was in Brooklyn. I went to Harlem. I went to Malcolm X Avenue, stuff that I've always seen and I wanted to do. I wanted to ride the subway, and the subway tired me out. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it's like subway everywhere, but it was still beautiful. I was, Times Square. It was like, man, this is what I always saw when I was a kid. It was like, one day I'm gonna go there. And I've been doing it. Like, we're gonna go to Hawaii, we're going to Africa. We're going to LA actually in October. And it's like and we waiting on our passports, which should be back in a few. But we trying to go. Yeah, man, it's been like 9 weeks, and they were like, they kind of backed up, but it's cool. But we trying to go to Africa for a whole month, like stay in Africa for a month, basically live there for a whole month just to experience it, man, because it's like you live once, man. You live once. And I'm just want to live it up, and I want to be able to leave a legacy. This is what I do, why I do now, not just podcasting and not just filmmaking. And it's because I'm trying to leave a footprint for people to follow. You know what I mean? And you've been an author. You're a writer. You understand.
A child who was raised in New York City is going to have very different experiences than a child that was raised in the mountains in California.
Yeah.
And we forget that as a population. We forget that everybody's coming from a different place in their life, different perspectives. And, like we all think everybody's learning the same information, but they're not. And I thought that was really interesting when I was working with the state that they were telling us that the different states were teaching different information. And it's like, how could that be? We all have the same information, but no, we don't. And so that's why reading is important and traveling is important. Just seeing new things and having new experiences.
Well, I see that you got your books there. I know that your internet is a little thawed a little bit, but grab one of your books and let me and give me a rundown on one of your favorite books that you kind of like. I say your favorite, but I'm just gonna say, one of the ones.
I don't have a favorite because
that's what I was gonna say.
They're all my traveling, so they're all my favorite. But this is one that I had entered in the film festival, and it's actually based on Kona, Hawaii. I have 2 on Hawaii.
And what's the name of that?
This one is called Queen Vernita Conquers the Volcanic Islands. And I have a friend that I grew up with that lives on Kona. And so I visited him a lot. And then in here is a little girl. Her name is Ireland and her mom's name is Heather. And she has Rett syndrome. And so on this page, so each page is a new month and a new season and a new subject. And so on this page, she's making leis for her classmates. So they're teaching the queen about her disability and why she needs help making the leis. And then this one is Connor. Connor was one of my students. He has autism and he uses a communication device.
Yeah, I got a brother. My sister foster brother has autism. And when we've been on vacation with them twice. He likes to ride with me and stuff. So yeah, I know a little bit about autism.
Okay. And so he uses a communication device to speak. And so he's telling the queen about it and teaching her how to use it. So a child who's reading this story, they're learning about volcanoes and Hawaii and swimming with the sharks. But they're also coming to a page that has a child who has a disability, and the child's just living their life. They're living their life, and they're explaining why they need just a little bit of help, or they're doing something a little bit differently. So if the child's reading this story and he sees another child on campus who has an iPad, they think, well, how come that child gets to have a game at school? We don't get to have games. Well, it's not a game, it's a communication device. And they will know how to address this child and talk to them. And so I just put little snippets of information in my books about disabilities and about traveling and the different areas. I've done one in New Orleans. I have one in Baja, Mexico. We kayak to La Bupadora.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to go to Mexico. I think I'm gonna go to. Everybody say go to Cancun, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to Cancun just to see how it is, and then I go from there.
Yes, it's a beautiful place, that's for sure.
You ever been to Hawaii?
Oh, I've been to Hawaii probably 8 times because my friend lives there, and so I went a lot to visit him and his wife. And I've been on a cruise around it, so I've seen all the islands. But I usually go to Kona, so I would like to go. And I've been to Oahu. We actually went to the North Shore, and I don't know what page that's on. And we went to swimming in a shark cage.
I want to do that. That'd be
in
pretty
Hawaii.
cool.
Oh, it was so much fun. Here's that page.
Oh.
And I won a contest through Stater Brothers, and I took my kids, and I had one grandchild at the time. And we drove over to the North Shore and went out. We go out about 10 miles out into the ocean, and we snorkeled in a shark cage. And my oldest daughter was standing on the top of the boat and holding the fish up, bringing the sharks around. And it was an amazing experience. And
see, I wouldn't be scared. Like, I'd be like, yeah, what's up, shark?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make the shark face too.
We touched the sharks a little bit, but it was really interesting. And we went to New Orleans. I went in the bayou, and the guide handed us a baby alligator. And so I was holding a baby alligator. And so it's just, if we go to Kona, there's a place where they actually raise seahorses. And we've done that a couple of times. And you have to take the classes they have, and you can actually have your own seahorse. And so there's but how many, children who live somewhere else, or Alaska or anywhere, they don't know about the seahorses.
And I think that's a good thing that you're able to write and bring your reality to other kids who don't have that reality. And so they can read your books and be like, oh man, she's doing this. I would love to be able to do that. And when they get older, or when they have the means to do it, that they actually do it and that's very inspirational, especially as being a teacher. You're able to write the way where a kid can understand, and not just, just flip through pictures, but can really get where you're coming from. So that's one thing I like about children authors. You know what I'm saying? They put their mind in the mind of a child, in order to communicate with that child. Nothing against people like, James Patterson, Tom Clancy, or, nothing against them, because them, they are very good authors, but they are more for the adult audience, what I'm saying, for them to understand. So I've always been amazed by child authors that like Dr. Seuss and people like that I actually grew up with. And even I'm gonna tell you the book that we used to read as a child, with rest in peace. And I know that people are gonna be like, well, whatever. But Stanley Tookie Williams, even though he was the leader of the Crip gang, whatever, he actually did a lot of change and ended up writing the children's book. And he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, which no one talks about that. But
yeah, no, I didn't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but did you? Well, you're in California, so you knew who Stanley Tookie Williams were probably. Well, go look. If you didn't, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor at the time, and he was trying to get clemency, but Arnold Schwarzenegger went ahead and let him, die by lethal injection, I think it was. But he was leader of the Crip gang a while back, because you know how California is when it came to gangs back then in the 70s, and like, still now is a little bit, but it's not as bad as it was then. But and he wrote children books while he was in prison, and ended up getting them published, ended up getting nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. And a lot of people said that he should have won the Nobel Peace Prize, but he didn't. And maybe it was because of his past. But, and I used to read his book. So if you really actually check it out, which is kind of crazy, if you go look him up, Stanley Tooker Williams, and look up the children's books that he actually wrote while he was in prison in the 90s. And we used to actually get them in the school I went to. So that's why I always thought that it was very amazing that people can think about the kids that need something to read, and it ain't just the idiot box, and, and they really have something that they can really latch on to, that other people are able to bring themselves to a child's level to be able to give them inspiration. I always think that's good, because, when you're growing up, you say, you stay out of grown folks' business, you know what I'm saying? When you're a kid, and it's like, grown ups know, look, you would stay in a child's place, but it's pretty cool to see that you have adults that are coming down to the child's level in order to give them inspiration. So I think that's pretty dope of you to be doing that. And how many awards did you say you have won?
I had won 42 and
42.
Over 42. And then after I entered the film festivals and things, I haven't been counting lately. So I don't really know at this point.
So are you still a teacher?
Yes, we started school yesterday.
I know they started. I seen them started school today here. Half a day, I think they doing it here. For the day was like a half a day. But yeah, they start back. And what's the latest book you have wrote? The latest one that you have wrote?
It was this one. This one just came out about a month and a half ago.
And what your books go for? On which I'm actually gonna ask you that at the end, but let's do it now also. So where can we get your books and pricing?
My publisher is Rushmore Press. Okay. I have a website, Dr. Dawn Menge, and they're on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, online. Just you can Google the books or Google my name and find them. And they range from 10 to a hardcover would be $25. So they go pre-K to 6th grade. So that's one good thing about the series, is that the child can be raised with the series. So they would start with the pre-K book, just learning the days of the weeks, the months of the years, and the seasons. Okay. And then they would start learning about Alaska and Hawaii. This is on the coastline of California. And this one I wrote with my brother, and it is on astronomy. So they'll learn all about astronomy, and there's some disabilities in here. So they go all the way up to 6th and 7th grade. So your child can just, or a family could be reading like the whole set.
And just as they progress and get older, they can kind of just go with the books and go with the flow of the books till they can understand even more of the books, basically. Right. Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
I wrote one on New Orleans, and that one includes slavery, plantations, the Underground Railroad. So it has some more concepts that are a little more mature.
Okay.
So you would need, your child to be able to understand.
To understand it, which is good, because we do need that. Especially when it comes to authors. And like you said, our youth is our future, man. So, without the youth and without them getting to know about what's going on in the world and what did go on in the world. Because I always say this, okay, that to know where you're going, you got to know where you came from, man. You got to know where you came from. And that's what it gets me about a lot of people, especially the new generation. Like, they could care less how it got here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, so what? The phone, who cares? You know, I can use it, you know? And I just think that you gotta know the beginning of like, okay, if you a person, and I've always said this, I took my first flight last year in December. My first time being on the plane, it was to New York. And I told myself, I've always learned about planes. I always learned about aviation, how they fly, the Wright brothers, how they started, how the first one failed. I always wanted to know how it got to where it's at, right? Before I ever got on one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to skydive, but guess what? I researched skydiving. So I'm going to know about skydiving before I actually skydive. You know, I've always been that person, you know what I'm saying? I want to learn that, like, you know, before we touch down in Africa, which I know a lot about Africa, but we either going to Ghana first, Morocco, or Johannesburg. We don't know which one we're going to first. And then Egypt is on there too, by the way. But I'm just saying, before I go to Ghana, I already been looking and researching the hotels, the beaches, the stuff, because I want to know once I get there, I've learned a lot about it, you know, and then I can still learn more while I'm there. And I'm that type of person. So that's why I feel that people should know where stuff came from and where they came from to know where they're going. And I just think that's something that we should teach our youth, even though the new generation is a little different, you know? They're more of a microwave, you know, and we are more of an oven, you know? Microwave, you know, real quick, let me get it, boom, boom. Oven, it got to take its time. It got to marinate first. It got, you know, we ain't always in a rush. Let's slow it down a little bit. You know, it's just different because everything is so quick. So quick. It's like boom, 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 boom. A lot of people don't take the time to enjoy no more. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is just boom, 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 boom. And you got to take the time to enjoy life because everybody, like I always say, everybody got the same 24 hours in a day. And how you use your 24 hours is how you use your 24 hours. But always remember that the 24 hours that you've been using for days and days and then years and years and decades, when you get to a certain age and you look back and you be like, man, I wasted a lot of time, you know? And you get there, but dang, once all them years pass by, it ain't no going back. And life is fragile. And I think a lot of people don't understand the mind is fragile. The life is fragile. Like, it's 99 million ways to die. So for you to live another day is a blessing in itself. And I think teaching our youth that, letting our youth understand that life is fragile. Life is a blessing and life is very amazing, but you have to take care of it. You know, you can't throw it away. You can't waste it. And if we can put that into our youth, man, this world will be a whole lot better place than a lot of stuff we living in now, you know? And I'm a firm believer of that. And I've always said this, if I can change the mind of one person out of 100, I did my job.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I say when you're writing in the books and you know, people will say, well, how much money are you making? How many books are you selling? But if that's what you're worried about, that's something I learned at the conferences, that if you're in it for the money, then you're doing the wrong thing. You know, you need to be in it for how you're impacting, what's your voice in the world? What is it you want to say? And you need to understand that you're impacting someone. And if you positively impact someone, then only one person, then you've done a good thing. Hopefully you get to impact a lot more than one person. But, you know, when people do events, you know, I always talk about one I did, and I did it with my brother, and I read to the kindergartners, and then he read to the third graders. And there was a little boy, when he introduced me, there was a little boy who started talking about his sister had been in one of our classes, and she had just passed away. But because I was standing there and my brother introduced me as a special ed teacher, he felt comfortable enough to start talking about the trauma that he had just gone through. And the teacher said, knowing that that was going to happen, that was going to be what I was doing. No, I went there to read my book to 50 kindergartners, and teaching them the days of the week and the months of the years. So when you go and do something, you don't know who you're going to run into and who you're going to impact and what they're getting out of it. And so you have to be careful with what it is that you're saying, because people are listening. So,
yes.
That's just one thing
You're absolutely right. People are listening, and especially, I got an 11-month-old too, who's about to be 1. And, my kids go all the way up to, he's the youngest out of 6 that I have, and youngest out of 8 between me and his mom, because she has 2 also. And he listens, he looks, and they soak it up. They looking and they're watching and they're listening. When you think they're not listening, when you think they're not watching, they are. Best believe it. So we got to make sure that we protect our youth, man, because they are our future and they deserve to be protected. And that's exactly how I feel about that. So I want to ask you a question about something before we get to our last 2 segments. So are you into movies?
Yes.
Okay. So I got a segment. I was gonna pin you against some authors, but I don't want to do you like that. So I'm gonna pin you against some directors, okay? Better yet, how about I'm gonna pin you against directors. And the reason why I say that, because being an author, you are like the director of the story that you are. So we'll do it like that. Okay, so this segment is called Under the Bus. All right. So basically what it is I'm going to pick 2 people and you got to tell me which one you like and the other one is going under the bus. So basically you have to pick between the 2 people who you rather save and who will go under the bus. I love this segment because some people be like, So here you go. You have Mr. Clint Eastwood, and then you have Mr. Steven Spielberg. So out of those 2 amazing directors, which director you pick and which director you will be throwing up under the bus?
Well, I would pick Spielberg because I love his movies.
Okay. So
Clint Eastwood, I don't like Westerns, or that's what he reminds me of. So no.
Oh, okay. So hey, everybody, Mrs. or should I say Dr. Don Menge has picked Steven Spielberg over Clint Eastwood. So Mr. Clint Eastwood, you are like 92 years old. You've been doing great for a lot of decades. But the doctor said you got to go up under the bus. So you are up under the bus. There we go. Hey, so we down to our last segment of the day. And this segment is called Brutally Honest. Basically, on this segment, I will ask you a question and you will have to be brutally honest about your answer. Now, I got to respect my elders, and you a doctor. Usually, if I don't believe you, I will roast you. Do you know what a roast is?
Yes.
Okay. But since you are my elders and I will have to respect that you are a doctor with a PhD, they're writing children's books, and you are a teacher, because I was saved by a Caucasian teacher, actually. Shout out to Miss Janice Bright. Love her to death. I can't wait till one day I'll see her again. We had the same birthday, and when I was in juvenile facility, that woman was one of the blessings. And shout out to Miss Stevenson also, who was one of the blessings. She was actually a white lady too. They always seen me as being a very successful person when a lot of people didn't. So with that being said, this is the question, and you got to keep it brutally honest with me, doctor. And here it is. The question is, have you ever stole from your grandparents?
Oh, no, no.
And let me guess. Do I believe you?
Okay, before you answer that, let me tell you one thing. My series is called Queen Vernita. My grandma's name was Vernita. The series is named after my grandmother, and she founded a credit union. So she was an astute businesswoman and a world traveler. So she wouldn't have let me do that.
Okay, because she would have been like, hold on, hold on.
No, she was a very smart woman.
Yeah, she would have known something ain't right. Don, can you come here real quick? Have I ever sold for my girl? Yeah, I did when I was young, but I don't think it was. I can't remember what it was, but I was a bad child. I did everything. I ain't gonna lie. I stole. I broke windows. I popped cars, and when I was like 8, 9, breaking the column, like I was that kid. I was that, as you say. You know, my dad was in prison and stuff, and I had lost my mom when I was 10. But I lived that, so I was just one of them kids. You feel me? Just whatever, didn't care. It is what it is, and I'm glad that I'm a different person now. Even though it took bullets and handcuffs and knives and time in prison to get me to where I'm at now, but I survived. I used to be I was affiliated for a long time, but I'm glad that where I'm at now, and that's even better. So I'm good with that. So before we actually get out of here, I gotta stop calling you Miss Dr. Don Menge. I cannot look, it's over with. I cannot call you nothing else but a doctor, because that is exactly what you are, and I will respect that, because you went to school, you did what you had to do, you got your PhD, you got your doctorate, and you should be Dr. Don Menge. Whoever knows you, whoever meets you, should always call you Dr. Don Menge, because you have earned it, and that is respect. So what I would like to say to you, Doctor, can you give people one more time where to find your books, and you can give your social media or your Instagram or your Facebook so people can actually connect with you?
My books are on Rushmore Press or on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and my Facebook is Don Menge 1. And if you go on there, there's albums for each of the books, and you can see like our actual trips and everything and what we were doing, which would be interesting for the children who are reading the books. And I have an Instagram, Don Menge, and a Twitter, Queen Vernita. And so anybody can contact me if they want an author signed copy. I'll be happy to send them one, or if they have questions, or they want to tell me if they loved my books, or if there's something they want improved, or they just want something they want me to write about.
Oh yeah. And my film back here, I actually, like I said, I'm the writer, director, producer. I wrote that, and I wrote the screenplay and everything, and I directed it, and of course I starred in it too. So and I actually got another short film that I'm in the midst of writing right now. We start shooting it in October, and I actually got other short films that I'm doing too.
Well, you should look into the film festivals, because the people that we met there, like I didn't even recognize him, but I was sitting at breakfast with some of the directors of the film festivals, and I met Daniel Baldwin, who is a producer and a director. And so they're at the film.
Are you talking about Daniel Baldwin? You talking about Steve Baldwin and Alec Baldwin brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know exactly who he is.
And so when you go there, if you enter into one that you can actually go to, they're actually directors and producers from Hollywood there. So that is an excellent place to meet people.
Yeah. And, and honestly with you, like some of them people I want to meet, people like Quentin Tarantino, Denzel Washington, people like one of my good filmmakers. I love Spike Lee, but I'm more not Hollywood though, right? I'm more Tyler Perry, build my own Hollywood. I'm more, Spike Lee, do it my way, and make it work, and which they have. Quentin Tarantino, who do it his way, you know, and his films be crazy good, and he doesn't get the props, a lot of the props that he deserves. You know, he get bad for a lot of films, but his films be great. It's just, you don't understand Quentin Tarantino, you don't understand Quentin Tarantino. It is what it is. I like it. I understand where he comes from with his movies. So I'm more of that. I'm more of an outcast filmmaker. And the reason why I say I am, because I don't fit in the realm of the ordinary Hollywood and the stuff like that. So even doing film in Nashville, I've got stereotype, you know, oh, he's a hip hop artist that's trying to make a film. You know, I get that. And, you know, it was hard to get people in my film, actually. I end up just reaching out to people, somebody sent me. So it was hard for me to, especially get a female to get in my film, and I ended up getting two. But it was kind of hard because it's like, oh, he's hip hop artist. What do you want me to do? Get in the video? And it was nothing like that. But you get this stereotype, and I'm like, well, it's cool because Ice Cube, who is a filmmaker who started out as a rapper with NWA, you know, he's making film. You know, Will Smith was a rapper who's a $20 million film actor and stuff like that. So I look at people like that, LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, you know, all these people that were hip hop artists. I look at them, and now they are filmmakers and they're actors, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I can break that mold myself also. So when I get put in that type of category, I'm like, whatever, because you can come listen to my podcast and you see the way I am. And if you want to listen to my music, then that's who Joaquin, the hip hop artist, is. And this is who Joaquin, the podcaster, the person. And then when you watch my film, it's actually my whole name, Joaquin Abdullah Talib. That's on my film. And then on my movie, on my music, it's Joaquin with a Q, not a K. So it's WYQEEM. So I separate all those because you have entertainment here, you have podcasting here, and you have an actor who is a filmmaker there. So I have those three different personas, but it all comes back to me and who I am. You understand? Mm-hmm. So anybody that's watching this on YouTube, what's up? Everybody listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Pandora. Hey, I appreciate y'all. So y'all like, comment, and share. And y'all already know, man, I got to give y'all this right here. If you want to go listen to my music on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your music at, it's Joaquin. It's WYQEEM. That's WYQ. Eric, Mimi, Mama, Moo Moo, you get it. And if you want to go watch my videos on YouTube, you can go to Joaquin TV. That's WYQEEM TV. That's WYQ, Eric, Mimi, Mama, Moo Moo TV. And this is Heat Level Podcast. You can go on YouTube, type in Heat Level Podcast, or you can go to heatlevelpodcast.com. Or if you're listening to this on Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, just put Heat Level Podcast. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe and y'all share, y'all like, and y'all comment. I'm here with the doctor because this is what the doctor ordered. Ain't that right, Dr. Don Menge? So appreciate that. Hey, man. And make sure my film, Damn Justin Again, everybody, make sure the film will be out September 30th, okay? And to be honest with you, if this podcast come after September 30th, it's out already. So just to let y'all know, so make sure y'all get that. You'll be able to get that on Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, IMBD TV. It's a whole lot of other ones. The only places I will not be is Hulu and Netflix. And that's something else. I ain't got time to deal with them right now. So I hope y'all watch that film. So Dr. Don Menge, do you have any inspirational quotes or anything else to say to the people, to the youth?
Well, just remember that reading will take you anywhere, and it's a great escape, and it's just something you really, really need to do. Yeah,
you know, they say reading is fundamental.
Yes, they do say that.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I've been told that reading is fundamental. Kids, people, everybody, pick up a book and
Yes.
just read. And if y'all have it, please get you a Dr. Don Menge book. Okay?
Yes.
Read it to your kids, read it to yourself, look at the coloring pages. Whatever you do, get her book. Hey, appreciate you, Dr. Don Menge. And everybody, y'all know, since I'm here with my elder, I can't say the word that I usually say at the end. So I'm going to say, y'all know how I always say, I'm about this thing.
Every time they in, they ride. Every time they hear this beat. Every time they in the spot. Every time I'm on they street. They listening, they listening, they listening to me. They listening, they listening, they listening to me. Every